Hi everyone. In today's video, I wanted to showcase a project that I'm actually currently working on. I thought it would be fun to share the creative process while I'm actually working on a project. And I thought it would be cool to show my workflow, some of the sounds I'm developing, and things like that. So this producer reached out to me asking me to write a little 30 to 45 second piece of music for a game, for an online game. And the music reference was very ambient. So I decided to create a piece of music that was in that vein. So I wanted to show some of the sounds that I made and my thought process behind it. This is still obviously in development, so it's not going to be super polished, but I wanted to show my methodology. So let's jump in. The first thing is this arpeggiated line that I made with the Opsix. And this is the sound. It's just a cascading sound. It's tucked super low in the mix. And that's the first sound. So for the second sound, I wanted to showcase something also from the Opsix. I didn't save the preset, so I can't show it, but I thought it'd be cool to play it. It's an LFO kind of inspired sound, and it's got this nice little percussive sound on the back end of it. And I ran it through a EQ. Obviously, you can tell without the EQ, it's pretty overbearing. And then I ran through a knob filter to also notch some of the sounds out. And it's just this repeated phrase. It's more or less kind of propulsion. The next thing I want to show, I do have the preset for. So the third sound that I made is actually also from my Opsix. It's getting a lot of work in here. And the sound is a very floaty, percussive-y kind of thing. And I programmed this sound, really happy with how it sounds. And yeah, so the harmonically we're in A major, so it's just playing 1, 2, then it goes to the major 7, to the 5, to the 3, and then it goes to it again, and then it goes to the 9, to the 5, to the major 7. So let's hear what that sounds like. Here is solo. It's just providing a nice little counterpointal floaty thing. And so for the next sound, I wanted to showcase one of the main melodic constructs of this cue is with the KORG Opsix. This is a preset I made called Ping Pong because that's what the game is about. It's like a kind of an online ping pong vibe thing. Anyway, so the melody is really simple. It's just C sharp to F, A to E, and then F sharp, and then A. So that's the melody, really simple. Let's hear what it sounds like. And then it just loops again. So that's one of the main melodies. The next sound that I wanted to show is actually with the Minimoog. It's a really simple bass line. It's not doing anything crazy. It's just providing the foundation. So we've got we're in A, so it's D in the bass, and then E, and then F sharp, and then E, and then D, and then E, and then F sharp, and then A, and then repeat. So that's the whole phrase. So here's what it sounds like. Cycle begins again. Now we got an F sharp. Then we're going to go to the A. We go back down again. And it just loops again. Like I said, it's real simple. the goal with this type of music is to make something that's very, very minimal, because the more you add to it, the more it becomes noticeable. And the goal of making music like this is to create something that feels infinite, something that just can keep going and going and going. So the next thing I made was with my MS-20. It's actually playing a very similar melody to this phrase that I showed earlier. And because this one's playing a very similar melody, but it's just, that's the phrase it's just playing. It's mirroring it in a way, so it's going the same phrase, and then so 1 2 3 5 3, and then we're going down to the low E, and then up to the G sharp. So those two sounds together sound like this. So notice how they're not 100% aligned. They're a little off from each other. Sometimes they line up. So yeah, that's the idea. They're just kind of complementing each other and bouncing off of each other. So now I want to showcase some of the VSTs that I use. The first one being the Cinematic Soft Piano. The Cinematic Soft Piano is a really nice, relatively inexpensive piano VST from Spitfire. And the melody is very, very simple. It's just this very lush piano with this nice little pad that's built into it underneath. And I turned off the pedal because I didn't want to have a lot of the pedal sounds on it. And now this melody has two sections. It's A and then like A prime. So when the melody loops again, it has this cascading line that starts at the beginning of it and at the end of it. But up until this point, it's just really simple. And here's what it sounds like with everything. Here comes the melody line. The melody line again. And then it loops. So the next sound that I have is from Native Instruments. The preset is Drawn by Wires. And so I actually bounced it and moved it over. The start of the sample had this bell sound that I couldn't quite get out, so I just rendered it and then shifted it over a little bit so the bell sounds weren't there. Here's what it sounds like. And if you'll notice, it's actually panned. And it's really soft, but it adds a nice little layer overall to it. But if you notice that it's panning across the spectrum, it's moving really slow. But in context with everything, take it out. It's really subtle. It's not super noticeable, but it's just adding to this vibe, essentially. The next thing that I have is this sound from the Spitfire strings, and they're just playing very basic chords. And I played it very, very low with the expression. I'd had it relatively low. So it's just the bass line is, the cello is mirroring the bass line, and then the other chords are mirroring the chords on top of that. So really small and subtle. If I took it out, you probably wouldn't. It's not super noticeable, like I said, but they're all working together to create this kind of wall of sound. And so the last thing that I didn't show that I was made with an analog synth was actually from the Peak. I ended up using a preset that I had made for a short film that I'm currently working on that I need to finish. And it's a bell sound, and it's just playing one sound. So my goal in this cue is to create this immersive, big ambient pad that has all these layers that work together, that create this kind of endless drone loop. And like I mentioned, people think that drones and very minimal things are easy. In some ways they are, but in a lot of ways they're not, because you are developing all these sounds that coincide together to create this wall of sound. So when you're writing music like this, you really need to be conscientious of making things that are not busy and that are super supportive of one another. They all work together to make this big sound. I'm still working on some of the sounds, so some things may change here or there, but overall I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the creative process and how I go about creating things. It's just more or less throwing things on a page and kind of chiseling and erasing and finding the right things that work for me. So yeah, before we leave, I thought it would be cool if we could give it a quick listen so you can hear it in context. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time.